Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Easy work. Use some easy ass work, motherfucker. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest. Now, the link is in the description. TMZ Sports, they caught up with Floyd Mayweather. Looks like he was on some kind of tour bus or whatnot, and they were speaking with him. He obviously talked about Conor McGregor, which is the fight his name has been rumored to possibly fight. Now, this has been going on for quite some time. Will it happen? He doesn't acknowledge or admit if it will or won't happen because he said he's his own boss and Conor McGregor has someone to answer to. Now, Dana White got mad and refuted it, but Jeff Mayweather, Bob Arum, and people like that in the boxing world, and just so I can explain to you guys, some people say, oh, how would Bob Arum know anything? But you got to keep in mind, Bob Arum has been in the boxing business, so a businessman, since the Muhammad Ali days. And in the top ranked offices are in Las Vegas, where UFC has a lot of fights, and they probably have offices in Las Vegas as well, right? And people talk, you know what I mean? These aren't like, these circles aren't the biggest. In addition, Bob Arum said this right after Mike Conlon had his pro debut, and who walked him out? Conor McGregor, right? So maybe he has some intel from that situation when Conor McGregor walked his fighter out, because there's a picture with Bob Arum and Conor McGregor and Mick Conlon as well. So I don't know if it's true, but according to Jeff Mayweather and Bob Arum, they're both saying like the UFC wants 50 to 80% of Conor McGregor's money if he fights outside of the UFC to fight Floyd Mayweather. So they're not gonna stop him from getting this career high payday, but they're sure gonna tax him. And I don't know if it's true. I can't prove it or anything like that. I don't know, but I don't think it sounds far-fetched, to be honest. It doesn't sound far-fetched because I keep saying this and I'm gonna keep saying it over and over and over and over and over again. And the UFC in the boxing arena, they stand more to lose. If Floyd said, oh, I'm coming into the octagon, that'd be something different, because that would be Conor McGregor's where he's comfortable at, where he has captured victories in all of his fights. I'm not talking about his career pre-UFC. I'm talking about his UFC career in all of his fights except for one, and that was versus Nate Diaz, right? So that would give him some leverage. But since it's happening in boxing, bigger gloves, Floyd's arena, most people wouldn't give Conor McGregor a shot to really beat Floyd because Floyd is Floyd. Maybe some of the other guys, I don't know, but Floyd is just different. And Floyd was speaking with TMZ, and I gotta say, with this, I don't know what the scenario was, like where they were, but the people talking, whoever, I don't know if they're all reporters, they're kind of obnoxious. It was kind of annoying. They're just blurting out stuff. They're like, oh, you're the greatest boxer, and you got a strip club. They're just yelling out, blurting out stuff. I was trying to hear the interview, and they were just saying, like, why'd you take so long to fight Pacquiao? Man, get off that. Pacquiao's done. That fight is done. He's fighting Jeff Horn. Pacquiao lost. I'm not watching it in slow motion. But that was kind of irritating. Again, the link in the description. You guys could judge for yourself. Thought that was a little bit irritating because I just wanted to hear what he was talking about. But Floyd Mayweather does this. He's kind of a mastermind when he speaks. Sometimes it's at your throat, Conor McGregor's a bitch, and he's doing all this. But sometimes they caught him on a night where he seemed pretty chill, mild mannered, and he was actually being very cordial to Conor McGregor. He's like, he wasn't really taking shots. Like, I've seen shots where he's like, I'm an elephant, he's an ant, and this and that, and Conor McGregor's a bitch, and he was doing all this. He wasn't doing that in this particular interview. Check it out for yourself. He was saying Conor McGregor, he's obviously done something right. He's the second biggest star in the UFC. And at first I was like, who's the number one biggest? But he's clearly, in my opinion, I think Floyd, it was saying he's the number one biggest star in the UFC because they always mention his name. Ronda Rousey said she'll fight him, or people were pitting Ronda Rousey versus him, and she was dissing him on the ESPN red carpet. So at first I was like, who's the number one? Who's he talking about? But I think he's talking about himself being the biggest star, because he said he's the second biggest star in the UFC. And at first I was like, who is the first biggest then? But I think he was talking about himself. You guys let me know how you interpret that. But he was being respectful to the UFC. He said the UFC, it's a contact sport. Anything can happen. He says it's different, but I haven't seen anybody in the UFC realm make the types of paychecks. Someone said, what's better? And would you basically fight in the MMA? He's like, they're not making the same type of paydays. I don't personally know any MMA fighter, UFC fighter that got 300 million in one night, 100 million in one night, 80 million in one night, even 50 million in one night. So, you know, he said men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So you know where basically where I'm gonna stay, because the money's in boxing, and that's what I've obviously grown up in. I'm not gonna. Why would Floyd see again the obnoxious comments like Floyd is 40 years old and he's retired. Why would he fight in the MMA? Like, really? I mean, it's just like a waste of a question to me. Like, yeah, he's gonna switch professions. You know what I'm saying? At 40 when he's retired. And Conor said he'll come to boxing, but whatever. So he was saying that they're not making the same dividends in the UFC, but he said the UFC is still a brutal sport. I have respect for the guys who put the glove up and get in that octagon, because it's a contact sport and it's brutal and anything can happen. And then the interesting thing is, he said Conor McGregor's obviously done something well to get into this position, to even be in talks with fighting me, basically, and making the noise that he's making. Then he said something interesting. He actually was like playing devil's advocate for how Conor McGregor, he was basically kind of playing devil's advocate as if Conor McGregor could beat him in boxing. So, I mean, maybe that's just him selling it. He said, who knows? Conor McGregor is a heavy hitter. He says all of his fights, his victories were really stand-up. So he's in a boxing stance on standing up vertically when he's doing his best work and when he's getting his wins. So someone said, oh, but why would you fight him? He's not a boxer. He said he's a fighter. He's still a fighter. And he's a stand-up fighter in the UFC. So that's where he captures most of his wins. You look at the Nate Diaz loss, he says, where was he? He was on the ground and he tapped out. So that goes to show you that he's more of a stand-up fighter than he is a grappler, which is a solid point, because it's just the biggest thing is his stand-up good enough to compete with an actual boxer? Because UFC boxing and stand-up, you could be like some of the guys that are considered real good stand-up fighters wouldn't really be successful in boxing. Like even like Amanda Nunes, I think her stand-up game is pretty sick for a UFC fighter. But if she was fighting like top-level people in her weight class in boxing, it'd be different. Like if she was fighting Ann Wolfe or Layla Ali or whoever's in her weight class, it might not look like that, because your stand-up being good in the UFC doesn't automatically transition to you'll have success in boxing. Just different rhythmic movements and different glove sizes and stuff like that. So Floyd was playing devil's advocate, kind of saying like, hey, I'm 40 years old. He's young. He's still in his 20s. He's a heavy hitter. It's boxing. Anything can happen. So I think he really wants to make the fight. And he's probably saying that because he wants to make the fight, because he probably knows in his mind that it'll probably be a fight where he can dictate the pace and really shine and show out. So he's just playing it up for the cameras and selling it up. And I said this before and I'm gonna say it again. Some of the people, first of all, majority of the people that I've seen said this is a blasphemous fight and they're not gonna watch it. A lot of you guys are full of shit, point blank period. You guys would watch the fight, right? Because people said that about Floyd and Berto. And then I do a Berto post-fight video after the Floyd-Berto fight, and they're right there in the comment section. So that's how I know. And people, I mean, realistically, I literally know a person, a dude named Octavio. And after he bet me and lost against Floyd versus De La Hoya, way back, we used to work together at Lowe's, right? And he actually never even paid me all my money. I want my money, Tavi. But he never even paid me. It wasn't even that much. It was $100. He only paid me 50 of it, so he still owes me 50. But anyway, he was like, oh, that was BS. I'm never watching the Floyd fight again. And then I seen him. He stopped working at Lowe's, but I seen him later on, and he was talking about like Floyd versus Maidana, and that was such a close fight. Like, wait. I thought you said you would. He swore that he would never watch a Floyd fight. Now, he didn't say, oh, I won't pay for another fight. He said, I will never watch another Floyd fight. You know what I'm saying? So guys have been saying that from the beginning. And I'm telling you, it's people like that who you have yourselves to blame. You people like say, oh, why would Floyd fight Conor McGregor? Because a lot of you guys are unrealistic and you don't give the man credit anyway. You know what I'm saying? He beats Pacquiao. Oh, but he still beat his wife. You know what I mean? Watch it in slow motion. Stuff that don't have nothing. Domestic violence. Stuff that don't have nothing to do with it. Oh, if this happened 4 years ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you're not going to give him credit anyway, then why not rob the bank? Ski mask. You know what I'm saying? And fight whoever you want. You're retired. You're 40. You've already proven your worth for 19, 20 years, pretty much 2 decades in the sport. You represented the U.S. in the Olympics, and people still didn't give you credit for a lot of your victories. Or, you know what I mean? They said Shane Mosley, even though he just beat Antonio Margarito, they said he was washed up and done and damaged goods, and Cotto was damaged goods from Margarito, and Ricky Hatton, it was because of the ref. So they're not giving you credit anyway. I would rob the bank too, to be honest. I'll fight somebody who's a trash talker, who already built their profile on their own, making noise, and that's gonna make me money. It's a weird circus hybrid crossover fight, and I would cash out. When that's straight up, you don't get credit anyway. You know what I mean? Might as well cash out and make the most money, maximize your dollar, take care of your family, put your kids through college. That's how I see it. So a lot of people that complain, you're part of the reason. You're part of the reason he's probably doing this. You know what I mean? He beats Pacquiao and you accept a shoulder injury excuse. You know what I mean? He fights Berto after beating Pacquiao and all the other champions, former champions, all the people he beat. You say he has to fight Golovkin, and if he fights Berto, then, or Kareem Mayfield, it ruined his whole legacy. You know what I mean? So I don't blame him. Rob the bank. I would do the same thing, truth be told. Let me know what you guys think. The link in the description. Floyd was being pretty humble towards Conor McGregor. Maybe he just really wants to make the fight and rob the bank. But he kind of played devil's advocate, like Conor McGregor has a shot against him. And I mean, realistically, I don't see it personally. I don't see Conor McGregor beating him, but I don't see any boxer in his weight class beating him. I don't see Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Pacquiao in a rematch, Timothy Brad. I don't see none of them beating him either. So it's really just because it's Floyd, because of his level of intelligence. However, I will say this. He is 40, and he is fighting someone who's untrained to the caliber of a standard boxer. So he might, you know what I mean? It's more, to me, it's harder to, when someone's harder to read, that makes him more dangerous. Floyd's toughest fight that he says was Emmanuel Augustus. And Emmanuel Augustus, you look at his record, and shout out to Emmanuel Augustus, I know he was shot, but his record is not impressive. You know what I mean? He had double-digit losses and stuff like that. It's not impressive, right? Just a riddle. It looks like a Skittle. I call it a Skittle. When you go to BoxRec and you see all the colors, the green, the red, and the blues and all that. It's a Skittles resume, but it was still the most tough fight. And you know why? It's because he has that drunken monkey style. And Emmanuel Augustus had that weird, he's hard to gauge. You don't know what he's going to do. He might start dancing and stuff like that. So me personally, as a betting man, I wouldn't bet on Conor McGregor unless I was just betting just on the off chance that he did an upset and I was trying to make some money. But I will say, fighters like that, it could be a tougher fight than maybe even like a Pacquiao fight, just because if Conor McGregor doesn't try to outbox Floyd, and he's that hard to read, he's already a southpaw, he is big, he's a guy that fought at 170, and he has power, right? Even in the bigger gloves, I think he has power. I mean, he was getting Nate Diaz's respect at 170. I think him not being textbook, if he fights like that, like Maidana, I think it could be a decent fight. I really do. And Conor has heart. I mean, even though he quit in the fight with Nate Diaz and tapped out, but that's just my thoughts. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm not trying to sell wolf tickets and say I think he would beat him. But again, I don't see anybody at welterweight really beating him. And they're talking about this fight would happen at welterweight to 154. So It's my thoughts. Link in the description. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.